This is the Unit 3 test. Question 1. You want to know the opinions of American school teachers about establishing a national test for high school graduation. You obtain a list of the members of the National Education Association, the largest teachers union, and mail a questionnaire to 2,500 teachers chosen at random from this list. By the deadline, 1,347 teachers returned this questionnaire. The population is A, the 1,347 teachers who mailed back the questionnaire, B, the 2,500 teachers to whom you mailed the questionnaire, C, all members of the National Education Association, D, all American school teachers, E, all American school students. 2. To assess the opinion of students at the University of Minnesota about campus snow removal, a reporter for the student newspaper interviews the first 12 students he meets who are willing to express their opinion. The method of sampling used is A, census, B, cluster sampling, C, voluntary response sampling, D, convenience sampling, E, simple random sampling. Number 3. A television station is interested in predicting whether voters in its viewing area are in favor of offshore drilling. It asks its viewers to phone in and indicate whether they support / are in favor of or are opposed to this practice. Of the 2,241 viewers who phoned in, 1,540, which is 70%, were opposed to offshore drilling. The viewers who phoned in can best be described as A, a voluntary response sample, B, a convenience sample, C, a probability sample, D, a population, E, a simple random sample. Number 4, we wish to draw a sample of 5 without replacement from a population of 50 households. Suppose the households are numbered 1, 2, all the way to 50, and suppose that the relevant line of the random number table is shown below. So 11362, 35692, 96237, 90842, 46843, 62719, 64049, 17823. The households selected are households 11, 13, 36, 62, and 73, households 11, 36, 23, 8, and 42, households 11, 36, 23, 23, and 8, households 11, 36, 23, 56, and 92, households 11, 35, 96, 90, and 46. Number 5, a public opinion poll in Ohio wants to determine if registered voters in the state approve of a measure to ban smoking in all public areas. They select a simple random sample of 50 registered voters from each county in the state and ask whether they approve or disapprove of the measure. This is an example of a systematic random sample, stratified random sample, a census, a simple random sample, cluster sample. Number 6, a marine biologist wants to estimate the mean size of the barnacle semibalanus balanoids on a stretch of rocky shoreline. To do so, he randomly selects 20 10 by 10 square inch plots and measured the size of every barnacle in each plot. This is an example of convenience sampling, cluster sampling, stratified random sampling, simple random sampling, voluntary sampling. Number 7, frequently, telephone poll takers call near dinner time between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. because most people are at home then. This is an effort to avoid A, voluntary response bias, B, calling people after they have gone to bed, C, a convenience sample, D, non-response, E, response bias. Should be then. Number 8, for one kindergarten class in his district, a researcher determines which children already can read simple words and which children cannot upon entering kindergarten. The children are followed until 3rd grade, at which point they are tested to determine the grade level at which they are reading. Those children who were reading simple words on entering kindergarten are found to be reading at a higher level than those who could not read simple words on entering kindergarten. The researcher A, can conclude that children should be taught to read in preschool as there are clear benefits to reading early. B, cannot conclude that being able to read before entering kindergarten is beneficial as there may be confounding variables in the study. C, needs to have taken a random sample of kindergarten students instead of one class to conclude a cause and effect relationship. D, needs to check the reading level of the children's parents. E, needs to retest in 6th grade or no conclusions can be reached. Number 9, The essential differences between an experiment and an observation study is that A, observational studies may have confounded variables, but experiments never do. B, in an experiment, people must give their informed consent before being allowed to participate. C, observational studies are always biased. D, observational studies cannot have response variables. E, an experiment imposes treatments on the subjects, but an observation study does not. Number 10. Which of the following is not a major principle of good design for all experiments? A, comparison to a control. B, replication. C, blocking. D, randomization. E, all of these are important principles for every experiment. Number 11, the principal reason for the use of controls in designing experiments is that it A, distinguishes a treatment effect from the effects of confounding variables, allows double blinding, reduces sampling variability, creates approximately equal groups for comparison, eliminates the placebo effect. Number 12, which of the following is a method for improving the accuracy of a sample? A, use no more than 3 or 4 words in any question. B, when possible, avoid the use of human interviewers, relying on computerized dialing instead. C, use large sample sizes. D, use smaller sample sizes. E, ask only questions for which the responses are quantitative variables. Number 13, in an experiment, an observed effect so large that it would rarely occur by chance is called an outlier, influential, statistically significant, bias, replication. Question 14. A member of Congress wants to know whether his constituents support a proposed legislation on health care. His staff reports that 228 letters have been received on the subject, of which 193 oppose the legislation. Identify the population and the sample. Right, question 15. Mrs. O'Brien will send a delegation of 35 seniors to a student life convention. The 35 seniors will be selected from 200 girls and 150 boys eligible to be chosen. One sampling plan is to select a sample of 20 girls and a separate sample of 15 boys so that each senior has the same chance of being selected for the convention. Is this a simple random sample? Explain. In Part B, explain clearly how you would use your calculator to choose a sample of 20 girls to attend the convention. C, a portion of a random digits table is shown below. Beginning at line 108, select the first 3 senior girls to be in the sample. Explain your procedures clearly. Question 16. Read the following article about the connection between vitamin E and heart bypass surgery. Vitamin E may have special health benefits. Large doses of vitamin E apparently can reduce harmful side effects of bypass surgery in heart patients. A study involving 28 bypass patients found that the 14 randomly assigned patients who took vitamin E for 2 weeks before their operations had significantly better heart function after the procedure than the 14 randomly assigned patients who took placebos. The vitamins apparently prevent damage to the heart muscle by destroying the toxic chemicals called free radicals that form when blood is cut off during the surgery, said Dr. Terrence Yao of the University of Toronto. A, explain why this is an experiment and not an observational study. B, identify the explanatory and response variables. C, identify the type of experimental design used in this study and justify your answers. D, in the second sentence above is the phrase, the 14 patients who took vitamin E for 2 weeks before their operation had significantly better heart function after the procedure. What is the statistical meaning of the word significantly in the context of this study? And last, this was a controlled experiment. Describe how it was controlled and explain the purpose of doing so.